Good morning. Um, so I haven't been on here for a while. I don't know. I'd have to look back to see how long it's been, but um, I feel like I'm at a standstill right now. My healing process. Um, I yes, I saw a guy that has a YouTube channel the other day, and he was like about anxiety, and he was saying that basically in a nutshell that you don't get anything out of the healing process unless you invest in something, which I didn't like at all, and it just made me feel like I was pedaling backwards because I feel like you can get better on your own. It's absolutely possible. A lot of people do it. It's not some magic trick. It's not some really hard, complicated thing. It's actually really, really easy. It's just stopping the fear, and just not being afraid of it anymore. And just lately, I've been like feeling a lot of cortisol. I think cortisol in the morning. I'm not sure, but then I was reading something that said it's really good to have cortisol. You want to have that cortisol in the morning because you want to have energy. You don't want to be dragging all day long. When I was first coming out of this, just starting to come out of this to where I could actually see the reality of it. I was like just drained. I was exhausted. Excuse me. I just went through a couple of months of just being exhausted, and I accepted that it was part of the healing process. That your body is starting to calm down, and therefore you don't have all that adrenaline racing through your body anymore, like intense, like every day for, I think I had it like, I know for a full year I had that just intense all day long. But there's a lot of days now where I'm snapping out of it. But I'm not exhausted. I was so exhausted. I think it's just that's part of the process also. You're going to experience that. You're going to think something's wrong, and there's nothing wrong. It's just part of it. And then you come out of it. And now I feel like I'm getting back my normal levels of energy. I've been waking up a lot at 3 in the morning, and then I also saw something that was really interesting. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of looking at YouTube and things. But I also saw that there's something called the first sleep and the second sleep. And back in the day, humans, we evolved to this thinking that we needed to sleep all night from, get an 8-hour thing. We evolved to this, but before all this, in the rat race, everybody would basically wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning. They'd get their first sleep. They'd go to sleep around when the sun would go down, and then they would sleep until like 3, and then they would wake up. That was the first sleep. And then for a couple hours, they'd stay awake, and they would read or visit or whatever, and then they'd go back to sleep, and they'd sleep till morning light. That's a second sleep. So there is something really interesting about that. You should research it. That made me feel not so bad that I'm not, when you start waking up and you think you have insomnia and stuff, that's normal. That's how, we were like that before we evolved to this, which is really interesting. And it makes sense. I should try to find the article that I was looking at, but that's what explains why a lot of people wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning. That used to freak me out. I'd wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would not be happy about it, and that would probably help my adrenaline get going. But just the fact that I had, I felt like I had a lot of cortisol this morning. I didn't like it. And then I was watching that one video, and the guy was like, you need cortisol. You want to have cortisol. You want to be able to wake up. You want to have some energy. And I was like, oh, that is true. I do want to wake up and have energy, and I do want to get moving, and I do. So this cortisol, is okay. So there that is. But also, I also have been telling myself, I must be to a really good point, that I have been telling myself that these are just physical sensations, and it's okay. Nothing's happening now. I just keep saying they're just physical sensations. Just deal with the physical sensations. I mean, they're just like the physical sensations of, like when you're on a roller coaster. I don't know if anybody out there has ever been on a roller coaster, but when you're on a roller coaster, you get that feeling in your stomach. And often when you go upside down, and you do get all those feelings, and it feels like anxiety. So it's okay to have these physical sensations. That's all they are. They're physical sensations. We have a lot of physical sensations when we're not having anxiety. We have a lot of physical sensations until you have that panic attack. Then you start paying way more attention to the physical sensations and the anxiety. Before you had the anxiety attack, before you had the huge rush of adrenaline and got afraid of it, you did have those physical sensations growing up your whole life. I mean, I know I did, and I never gave it a thought. You feel it, and then you just let it go away, and that's how it always was until the fear came into it. Hello, fear. You just eventually, I know, given time, I won't be afraid of it anymore. I'm at to the point now where I feel it, and then I'm like, why am I afraid of this? What is it about it? I think that it's just, the brain has just formulated such a strong, the neuro pathways are so strong because, a year, I don't know how long any of you have been on this journey, but I know that my mom said something to me the other day, and she was like, can you go get help? Because I was like, it's been almost 2 years, and I was like, hell no, I don't want to go get help. I've made it this far without any help, and if I go get help and I go do anything any different than what I'm doing, then it's going to be like putting a Band-Aid on it. And then what's going to happen? Then I want to get strong enough and get out the other end of this on my own, so that if it ever happens again and it gets intense again, I'll be able to be like, oh, I got this. And that's where I want to be. That's where I'm getting. I've got this. I can do this on my own. I am not going to be the person that I don't want to lean on anything. I want to do this. And now that I've started, I'm this far in, I'm going to keep going. Because even though the adrenaline makes me feel like at times I've made no progress, and it's still intense, that I know I have. I know I've made progress. I've made immense progress. And I'm to the point now, I feel like I'm in a different stage of where I'm just like saying to myself, why are you so afraid of this? Like laying in bed, and let's see, I slept 5 hours, and I woke up and I watched one of my shows. And then I was like, I started to go back to sleep, and I started to feel it, the heat. And I was like, okay, these are just physical symptoms. That's all they are. They're just physical symptoms. And nothing's going to happen. And I would fall back to sleep. And I think I slept another 2 hours. And then I told myself the same thing again. And then I slept for another 3 hours or something. So, I'm to the stage where I'm looking at it going, what is going on here? Why still feels so intense. The adrenaline's always going to feel intense. The thing is you have to, I believe you have to just be okay with it being there. I was watching some guy that I really, really liked him, and I really liked what he was saying. I'll try to maybe attach his video to this, or one of those cards, or I really don't know what I'm doing, but I will try. But, he made a lot of sense, and he was talking about how you just will it to make it worse. And he said if you can will yourself to make it, tell the anxiety, make it worse, come on, get me, make it worse, come on, bring it on. He said that tells your brain that it can stop producing the adrenaline, because it tells your brain, oh, they want more. They're not scared. If you react that way instead of reacting in fear, then your brain's going to be like, oh, they're okay. We don't need to do any more of this. The way he explained it's probably better than me. But, he's just talking about stuff like that in his journey, like I'm doing with mine. He's probably better at it. But, just tell yourself, in the beginning when this first happened to me, I had lost like 3 days of sleep or something, and I wasn't eating, and I weighed like 120 pounds when this first happened. And I was going in and out. I think on one of my videos I talked about how I was chewing gum and making puzzles, and I was going in and out, in and out, in and out, outside, inside, outside. I couldn't, nothing felt, I was running. I wish I wouldn't have been, but once I remember this was like 2 years ago almost, I came back in and I stood next to a table where I was making puzzles, and I was like, okay, I give up. Come and get me. Just come and get me. Whatever you're gonna do, just do it. And I got this total, I just got so frustrated and so mad, and I was like, go ahead. Just do whatever you're gonna do. And that was in the very beginning, and I snapped out of it. I remember snapping out of it. And I was able to sleep that night. I was so happy. But then the next day I ran into a friend of mine, and she was talking about a family member of hers that was having really bad anxiety and was suicidal, and was gonna, had been stopped from doing something. But he was going through depression and stuff too. It wasn't just anxiety, but she brought that up, and she was going on and on. I said, stop, please stop. I'm just getting on my feet. It was a couple days after I'm just getting on my feet. I'm just getting on my feet. It was a trigger. And because I didn't know what I was dealing with or how to deal with it, she triggered me really badly, and I went right back into it. The anxiety started building up again, and the adrenaline. I didn't really know what was happening. I knew a little bit about anxiety, but I didn't know it was adrenaline. So anyway, there is something to come and make it worse. Come and make it worse. Just go ahead and do your worst, because anxiety cannot do any worse to you. It can't do anything. It's not doing anything. And if you can get into the headspace of realizing it's not doing anything, you're getting there. And your body might still keep releasing adrenaline, because that's what it's been used to. It'll keep doing it, even if you have a thought. I've been having these days where I just snap out of it and I feel like myself. But every time I get a little physical symptom, I've noticed this, every time I get a little physical symptom, like my arms, even when my arms tingle or get cold, I'm like, I start like telling my brain danger. I start getting afraid, like, oh no, oh no. And I'm like, and then I think about waking up in the morning, and I think about what's my day going to be like. Like this morning I got up and I was like, well, last night when I went to bed I was okay. And I was like, okay, but my morning, oh my God, my morning. So I'm doing it to myself. And I expect to have a morning where it's bad, but you know what? You have to also tell yourself that those aren't bad days. Those are good days too. You can't like say the monster's going to come out every day and make it into a monster and make them bad days every day. Make every day. Just say every day's a good day. eventually that will change too. It's all about telling our brains, you know, what we believe. And our brain is gonna take that and run with it. So we just have to get to the place where we're not. If you can get to the place where you stop telling yourself you're afraid, stop being afraid of it, because I'm kind of looking at it funny these days. Like, of course, adrenaline feels like shit. It just does. And I'll have adrenaline and I'll be like, why is my body producing adrenaline? Why is my body producing adrenaline? And every time I do that, I start getting probably more adrenaline. And every time I start thinking something's wrong, I get more adrenaline. You know, I have to just tell myself this is the natural process of it, because I know I have the days where I am completely, I snap out of it and I'm like, it feels amazing. It's just peaceful. And anyway, I'm getting to the point where I'm looking at it and going, this is really odd. Why am I afraid of this? This is really stupid. I'm getting to the point where, and it's been almost 2 years, so yeah, it's long enough where you just start looking at it in a different perspective, and you're not running scared of it all the time. You know, especially when you're sitting with it, when you feel adrenaline in the middle of the day, and you sit with it, and you just keep moving forward, and you act like it's not there. You still have to you have to stop telling yourself those stories in the back of your mind when it happens, and you're walking along and you're sitting with it and you're letting it be there. The stories in the back are saying, you know, they want to come forward and they want to say, something's really wrong here. Why is this still happening? You know, why am I still having adrenaline? And you need to stop listening to those stories. I always thought that I had such a great imagination. I wanted to be a writer. And so I thought, my whole life, I've got such a great imagination. But you know what? Maybe that's why I'm still sitting here like this, because my imagination just loves to go. Go, 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 go. But you know what? Maybe I should go make a painting. You know, get creative, use it, burn it out. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope that if someone's going through the same thing as me on the same kind of journey, that they get something out of this. Anyway, everyone's going to have an amazing day.